Hi guys. So I thought I would hop on and go ahead and tell you guys my rapture dream. So I had this dream. I also had my rapture dream August of 2020. So I just posted a video of my 4-year-old's rapture dream. She had hers August 5th and I had mine August 15th. So it was about 10 days later. And before I start into the dream, I just wanted to give a little back history or, backstory. So me and my husband, long story short, we're getting a divorce. And basically all of 2020, it was talks of divorce and going to therapy, and he had made the decision that he wanted me to leave. And at this time, my family was living with us. So I had my mom and my sister living with me at the time. And I had fallen pretty far away from God. But in July of 2020, he really woke me up, and I started to watch Rapture dreams or like Rapture dream videos and read the Bible, and I just started getting really close to him, and I was realizing the time that we're in. Like I understood, like, this is it, like this is the end, this is how it ends. And so I was really getting into this, and me and my mom, who was living with me at the time, we both were really, we would study every night, and my sister too, but me and my mom would stay up late at night and study and watch videos. And my mom really wanted a rapture dream. My sister really wanted a rapture dream, but I did not want a rapture dream. And I prayed to God. I said, God, I don't want a rapture dream because I don't want to be disappointed, because a bunch of rapture dreams that I would watch, they would say that when they woke up, they were so sad, and that it was just like really depressing to go through that and then wake up and be like, oh, it wasn't real. And so every night I would pray that my sister or my mom got a rapture dream, because they both wanted one, but I did not want one. And but he did end up giving me one. And another little back tidbit is my husband, he was like, okay, well, everyone needs to go, because we're getting a divorce, and you and your mom and your sister need to find somewhere to live. And even though he was repeatedly telling me these things, I never felt in my heart that, like, that urgency, like that I needed to leave and I needed to find somewhere to live, and which is really weird, considering, he was like, you need to leave and you guys need to leave. And I prayed about it every night, and I never felt this feeling from the Lord telling me to leave, or to like that urgency that you feel from the Lord. So I was never afraid, never felt fear. I just felt like I was going to be fine. So, okay, so now into the dream. So in the dream, it started off with I was watching a movie. I was watching TV. So I was watching the TV, and it was like the news. And I saw, this is really weird, but okay. The end of, I think it was July 31st is when I Googled this before I did this. That's why I know. But July 31st, Beyonce, she released that Black is King documentary. And I was seeing it because I was watching a lot of Christian channels and Rapture Dreams and stuff on YouTube. So I was seeing it pop up on my feed or whatever. Black is King, Black is King. And I never watched it, but I just saw her face. So that's kind of how I understand, or that's why I understand that she was in the dream. But anyway, so I'm watching, sorry, my cat, I have a couple cats here that are walking around. So I'm watching TV and I see Beyonce, and she's about to come out on stage. And the stage it's in like a desert. So it was like a desert terrain, and it was like her and like a few others that were surrounding her, and it felt like they were coming out to perform. But when she was coming out, it was like the real Beyonce switched off with like her body double. And when I saw this exchange, like she looked at the body double, like they looked at each other, acknowledged each other, and were like, let's switch. When I noticed that, I knew it's time. Like that was like the signal to me. And I guess when I woke up, I kind of figured that was like a type for the Antichrist. I'm not saying that Beyonce has anything to do with the Antichrist or anything like that. It just happened to be how it manifested in my dream. I'm just like assuming, but it was her, and that was the signal. Like when she switched, it was like, and nobody knew. Like when she came out, the fake Beyonce came out, nobody knew it was the fake Beyonce. They thought it was the real one, right? But she knew that when she came out, it would signal to all the Christians that it was time for the rapture. So I knew though, like I recognized it because I was watching. And the second it happened, I was like, I freaked out and I was like, oh, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. And so I ran downstairs to the basement and I started like arguing with my husband, and I was like, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. No, really, Jesus. I was frantic. And he is not a believer. And so this is like a conversation, argument that we have frequently, or that we had frequently all last year. And so this wasn't new for, you know what I mean, for this to happen. But so I'm arguing and I'm frantically like, Jesus is here, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. And as I'm yelling at him, like in his face, all of a sudden I hear the horn, like, boo, boo, boo. And it's like a very light, it started off like super light, and I was like, and I just like immediately like did not care about this argument I was having with him. I got up and I ran, and where we were in the basement. And I opened up the deck, like the door to the deck. And mind you, this was at night. So I knew that like everyone was asleep, and I knew my kids were asleep, and I opened up the deck, and all of a sudden it was like light out. And I look up, and there was no snow on the ground. So it was either like spring or summer. There was no snow on the ground, but it was dark. But then when I opened up the door and I looked up, I could see like Jesus was coming out of the clouds. Like he was up in the clouds, and all the angels were surrounding him, and he was like it just was like he was like appearing behind them or above the mountains in the clouds. And as soon as I saw him, and he lit up the entire sky. So it was dark, but when I saw him, it was light. It was like daytime. So he comes out, and I was like, like I knew it was time, and I just screamed, Jesus, Jesus. And as this is happening, I knew in my head, like I consciously knew that my 2-year-old was going to land in my arms. So I knew I was getting raptured, and I knew the second it happened, she would just land in my arms. It was like the weirdest thing. I just knew. And sure enough, the second I start lifting up, and I knew he saw it happen. Like I knew he was looking, but I don't think he heard it. I don't think he saw Jesus, but he did see like something happen with me. And I was just like, bye, I did not care anymore about that conversation. But I turned and I just was like, yay. And so I started you know, getting sucked up. And it was the most amazing feeling. It was like, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, there's this roller coaster that's on the top of the stratosphere, and it goes like boom, like it just like catapults you up, and then it, you know, comes down and it keeps going up, and it's like, it's the most amazing feeling, but it's like almost too much, you know. That's kind of how I would describe it. Like, it felt like just that rush of like butterflies, but like in an amazing way. And so as I'm going up, like instantly my 2-year-old like plops into my arms, and I was just so happy. Like, it was just the most amazing, happy, at peace, just feeling. So I land, or like I, you know, stop, and I'm in a room. So I'm in like a waiting room. And I get there and I was just like, what? You know, I realized like, oh my gosh, I just got raptured, you know, and I was like so happy and excited. It felt so real. And I look over and there's Jesus, and Jesus is he's like standing at like a computer, and he was operating a projection screen. So there was like a screen on the wall, a huge screen on the wall, and there were just a huge group of us just kind of hanging out and lounging, and like there was like people laying on the floor, like we were waiting. And how I understood it is that we were waiting for everyone else to be raptured. So we were in this room, and I look over at Jesus, and he was already in conversation with other people. And I don't think this is really significant. I think it was more just for there was a deeper meaning to why this happened. But so he was on the computer and he was talking to people, and he was showing us on the screen a lobster, and he was talking about this lobster and how it was just something that he liked when he was on Earth. And I don't think it meant like something he liked to eat necessarily, because I looked it up afterwards. I was like, did they like eat lobster? Like, wasn't that like not allowed for Jewish people? So, and it wasn't. It was like they're not allowed to eat shellfish or something. But I don't think that was the point of it. He was explaining it in a way that was like, oh, this was a cool animal like that I like to see, or something like that. He was just talking about it and explaining it and giving us all these like facts about this lobster. And it was like, it was just the most relaxed feeling. It felt to me like he was like he could really relate to us on a human level. And that was the vibe I was getting from it. Not like the lobster itself had like some weird hidden meaning. It was more just he was trying to convey a sense of like relatability. Like he understood us, you know. And during this time that I had the dream, I kind of struggled with feeling like he understood. Like I felt like, oh God, you know, you don't really, like when I would pray for things, like you don't really understand what I'm or where I'm coming from. I'm sure you don't understand because you're God, you know. And like I just had like a weird disconnect. And so I feel like this particular moment in the dream was meant for me to, he really wanted to show me like I understand, like I am more human than you think, or like I lived a life as a man, you know, like as a human, like I experienced the pain and this, like the feelings and the, you know, the same things that you guys do. So that's kind of what I think the point of that was. But it was just so cool. And he was just wearing a white robe, and he had short, like curly brown hair, and he was like olive skinned, and not like a typical looking like Middle Eastern to me. And he was like so like, he was just really good looking to me, not like in a weird way, but just like beautiful, you know. And I was just so happy to like be in his presence. But he was like talking to like people, and he was waiting for everyone to come. So I'm standing there and just kind of in this waiting room, and I look down and I see my daughter, my little 2-year-old, and she was on the floor laying, she was laying down. And I look at her and she just smiled at me, and she was so peaceful and happy. And you know how 2-year-olds are, they're like hyper and just running around. She was not like that. Like, she was just like just smiling and happy, and I felt like at peace. I didn't think of my 4-year-old because for some reason I just knew she was fine. Like, I wasn't concerned about her. But as I'm standing there, there was people that I started talking with, and there was a girl, and she was telling me about her life on earth and how she had to live out of a bag. Like, she lived out of like a pillowcase. So she had all of the contents of her, like all of her clothes and everything was in this pillowcase, and that's what she slept on every night. And I think that she was maybe homeless or something, but it was like, I just remember being like, wow, like there's people from all walks of life that get raptured. And it was just interesting, like hearing other people's stories, and it just felt so real. Like, I'm getting to know people that are raptured with me. But as I'm standing there, I was like, okay, where is my mom? I thought in my head, where is my mom? And all of a sudden I saw, it's like I thought it in my head, and then God showed it to me, like where she was. And it just flashed like a vision, in up above me, and it was her. And she was at it was like this dim kind of office setting, and I was like, where is she? Like, I didn't really understand where she was. And she was at this office, and like at a desk, and she was on a computer, and there was just other people working with her. And then all of a sudden, like, an angel came in, and she looked, and she just like squealed with excitement, like she knew, like she was getting raptured. So she was like, ah! So she freaks out and goes with the angel, okay? And then the angel brings her up to the waiting room, and I could hear her the entire way just squealing, like just, ah! Super excited. And then she gets into the waiting room, and I was like, that's my mom, like I was kind of like proud. That's my mom. And she comes up to me, and she grabs me, and we hug, and we're, jumping up and down, just like, yes, like it finally happened. Like, we got raptured. And as soon as that happened, we both look at each other, and we were like, we didn't print off the left behind letter. Like, we didn't print off the rapture letter. And we both were just like, oh my gosh, like just such disappointment and sorrow. And I felt like crap. Like, I couldn't do anything about it. And I knew that my husband, he doesn't know enough about the Bible or about the rapture or end times or anything. He doesn't know enough about it to know what's going on, to know what happened, And so I just felt like so disappointed, and that was the end of the dream. And I woke up, and that's why I was so grateful. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Like, that was not real, because I don't want him to be left behind and not know what to do next. And so I have the letter. I'm not going to read the letter, this particular letter. So the night before I had this dream, me and my mom were up, and we were talking about how we felt like God was telling us, and he had been telling us for a while, that we need to write a left behind letter, a rapture letter, whatever you want to call it. And I'd seen a couple other dreams where they had left a letter. And I knew I needed to write it, but I didn't know what I wanted to say, and I was like, okay, I need to like address everybody. I need to, there was just too many details that I wanted to include, and I'm too much of a perfectionist that it would have just taken me too long. And I realized that I wasn't meant to write it for everyone. I was meant to write it for him. And so I wrote the letter to him. And it says, to Lauren, open when we disappear. Where did everyone go? And basically explains where we went and what to do next, what not to do, like don't take the mark and all that stuff. So my mom, she wrote a letter, a very detailed letter, and it's to everybody. And so I copied this, I photocopied this, and then I put it in envelopes, and I'm gonna leave it all around the house. He has already seen, this one's not closed because I was gonna add more to it, because this one's the handwritten one. I just photocopied it, but he's seen this. Like, he hasn't read the letter, but he's seen it, and he was like, oh, I saw your Left Behind letter. I was like, yeah. He's like, don't worry, I didn't read it. I was like, oh. You know, that's for hope. I still pray for him every night that he realizes the truth and he gets saved, but this is for if that doesn't happen. And my mom, she finished hers, and that was the push that she needed to finish her letter as well. So I really felt like God wanted me to share this, and it's crazy because the last like day or two, maybe, I've noticed that a lot of channels have been sharing their Left Behind letters, and I've been praying to God, like, God, if you want me to share my dream, you know, give me something, give me a confirmation. And Chad from Watchmen on the Wall 88, I think he posted his, and Tyler from Generation 2434 posted his, and I was like, okay, why is everyone feeling compelled to share their Rapture letter right now, you know, like. So I felt this dream was really relevant about that. So I wanted to read a couple scriptures, and hopefully I didn't forget anything. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm just going to close with a couple scriptures. This is 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 13. But I would not have you be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words. Comfort. Like, we should find comfort in this. Like, we should not fear, you know? And then chapter 5, I just wanted to read a couple lines from this. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep, as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us, who are of the day, be sober. Get down. Putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and helmet, the hope of salvation. For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. So I just hope that encourages you, and I really wanted to share it because I really feel like he's going to come soon. And I've been feeling like he's going to come soon, you know, since July. But I know he's coming soon. I know he's coming soon, and I'm just super excited. Oh, one more thing I wanted to note. I gave a little background about why I was, I guess, arguing with my husband. And in the dream, I was like, well, two things. So in the dream, I was arguing with him in the basement, and I was like, why? Like, you know, when I was awake, I was like, why was I in the basement? Like, why were we in the basement? That doesn't make any sense, because he lives upstairs, you know, like, he's never in the basement ever. So it just didn't make sense to me. And I told you how I felt like God comforted me about having to leave. Like, basically, I felt like I didn't feel the urgency that I needed to leave. And it's because a couple months later, so this dream was in August, and about, I think, October, he came to me, my husband, and he said, I don't know why, and I just feel it would be best if you stayed and I move out. Like, I move out of our bedroom and I move into the basement. And you keep the master and I'll just move into the basement. And I was like, okay. And like, all I could do was smile, because I knew God was looking after me. I knew God was answering my prayer, and he kept his promise that I did not have to fear. And it also explained why I was in the basement arguing with him in the basement, because at the time it made no sense. Another thing that I thought was really interesting was when I woke up and told my mom the dream, I asked her what her work looked like, because she works, she has a government job, and I've never been to her job. And so I didn't know what it looked like, and I just didn't know where she was. And she explained where she worked, and it was a dimly lit office building, and it wasn't cubicles. It was like a very open kind of concept with the desks that were kind of low, where you could see everybody in the room, basically. It wasn't like a typical office with cubicles. And she was sitting at a desk with her computer, and everything that I described to her, she was like, that's exactly what it looks like in my work. And so I was like freaking out. I was like, whoa, there's no way I would have known that. Like, that is so bizarre. So anyways, there you have it. This video is getting way too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. But I just thought I would share that video, or share the dream with you. And if you have any questions, just comment down below, and I will do my best to answer them. Or if you have any like feelings from the Lord about what any of it could mean, maybe I missed something, please share with me. And I'm going to include my mom's rapture dream, or sorry, it's like midnight, okay? I'm going to include my mom's rapture letter in the description box, and I'm also going to include Tyler's from Generation 2434, because he made a community post and he said that we can share it wherever we want. Thank you, Tyler. So I'm going to include his as well. And if you guys need any help writing it, I can totally help you. The letter that I wrote for my husband, I had my sister read it, and she said it was good. And maybe, I could share it if I just change like his name and just a few personal things. So let me know. Okay, guys, God bless you, and I can't wait to see you guys in the clouds.